Going live. You're live. All right. Kia ora. G'day, everybody. Welcome back. Apologies, had to start a little bit later. Shout out William, Keith, Billy. Hey, good to read your message. Good afternoon, Joe and everyone. Just as well as I set my alarm to wake up from my afternoon nap. Good plan. Good plan. A little bit behind in terms of finishing off my training this afternoon, so needed to adjust the timing. Thank you to anybody that might be here, or those that are around, or those that popped in earlier and left a comment there. Where are we? What have we got? First, thank you to the channel members. Thank you very much. Yeah, a couple more of you signed up to support the channel. So from that $1.99 thing a month. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right, where are we? Few things. FYI. So I received a copyright strike on the channel. One of three. So from what I've seen and what I've read, you get 3 copyright strikes. If you get 3, then they shut the whole channel down. So I thought I was all good. The one that I've received the strike for, and I've reached out to them, but no reply. Probably not expecting anything, but I think it's come from the Force TV. So Big Phil stuff. I don't think it's come from Big Phil himself at all. It's in relation to a React with Me live that I did. Operation Barris, I think it was. And yeah, so that was a while ago, but that only just popped up. So one strike, I had to go through copyright school if I want to have the strike removed after 90 days. So I went through that, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So it's still there. One of 3 it's got plastered on the back end in the YouTube studio. One of 3 copyright strikes. So hopefully I don't get any more. I reached out to them, to the contact email, and then just said, hey, instead of just copyright striking me, if there's any other videos, like I've done a bunch of reactions to Big Phil stuff. So if there's anything on there that, infringes, or if they feel negatively impacts them, then if they could let me know, and then I'll just make them private, or I'll just delete them if they want. But yeah, no reply. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully don't get any more copyright strikes. I'll have to try to be a bit more careful. A few people have offered suggestions, and they said, oh, you might need to talk a bit more during the reactions that I do, which is interesting because I probably talk more than enough. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Copyright strike. Yeah, that stink. That'll be a pain in the backside if I end up getting 3. Hopefully I don't, touch wood. But if I do, oh well, there's worse things in life, eh? Just have to pick my bottom lip back up and then crack on and carry on again. So anyway, we're not at that stage yet. So hopefully I can do better. That's that. Next one. Yeah, it's probably one of the main ones. Before we see if anybody's got any questions. I don't think anybody has. I don't even. It's showing there's 4 people on. So the pre-selection camps, a bit of chatter and stuff around that. Yeah, so where was I going with it? Yeah, a bit more information, some follow-up stuff that'll probably happen over the coming days, weeks, with regards to posts and or videos and information. There's been literally a handful, so 3 people have reached out already that have expressed an interest in wanting to participate in the pre-selection camp, and yeah, and that's cool. So we'll see how it goes. There's still 12 more spots available for those that might want to, and then maybe sometime next week probably start looking at proposing dates, or maybe not so much proposing, but putting out dates. Some of those early adopters that have reached out first, express an interest, we have gone back to them just to get a gauge on some other information, but also to see when they might be available. There's a couple that are preparing to go into the military soon. So with that comes the potential for dates for their basic trainings and that sort of thing, and trying to get an idea of where that is, because realistically, it doesn't matter whether somebody does this before they join the military, or whether they are already in the service, or whether they're just looking at a civilian direct entry type route. So yeah, so we'll see what they come back with, what's a possibility and what isn't. just for this first one. We won't really be looking to do that going forward. We probably don't need to do that for this first one, but those that have expressed an interest early by looking at wanting to jump on this first one, at least anyway, we thought we might as well just throw it out there. We've got a bit of flexibility in terms of our schedule, so I've probably got the most flexibility out of everybody, seeing as I'm doing this full time. But we'll see what comes back anyway, and then go from there. I suppose once the first one's run, whether it's full with 15 or less than that, half than that, or 5 or 6 or whatever, um, it'll give a good gauge in terms of what that's like. Probably may not be able to get any feedback. We'll see how that goes. Haven't worked out how to capture that yet, other than obviously anonymously from or respecting their privacy and confidentiality, I should say, their identity, etc. For those that do look to participate in it. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that's the camps, that's the dates. No set dates yet, so we'll wait and see. Some of the queries in and around, or actually somebody put a comment in one of the videos. I won't read out the name unless they're on here and they want to announce themselves. That's all good. It says, bloody hell, it sucks being old. When I was in, you could do those preps, I'm pretty sure. In Army, I wasn't in SAS. Reasonably priced, I'd do it. Thanks for that comment on the pre-selection training camps video that I put up last night. And then there's a couple of other comments in there. So appreciate the support and the feedback on there. Yeah, I didn't know anything about those camps that were being run. If there was during my time, I think 100% would have put my hand up and said, yeah, hey Sarge, can I get on that training camp? But yeah, I didn't know about them until speaking with one of the guys in particular that's been heavily involved in that space, still active now. And yeah, he shed a bit of light and gave me some ideas and some food for thought and said, bro, you should, like what I'm already doing, the counsel that I received from him was that in line with what I'm already doing. This is something that we saw some really good results. And because you're already working on trying to give genuine candidates a better idea and how to prepare better physically and mentally and emotionally and all that sort of stuff, this might be a good option, because then you could delve deeper into connecting some of not only the physical, the mental, and the equipment and all that sort of stuff, but some of the hands-on skills that people generally are interested in as well. Like the navigation is a big one, how to pack their equipment, how to set up their equipment and that sort of thing, for selection specific, because if you make it all the way through, you're going to have your own ways and methods of how you want to set things up from a operational work perspective, which makes sense. But from a selection ready perspective, given that there's going to be time constraints in terms of what you do, what you have to get out when you're getting dressed and stuff, and then limited time frame and pressure to pack things away and to make that as neat and tidy as you can, so it's not bulging out of everywhere and looking like a pig's backside. Was one of the terms that one of the instructors used to use on the unit. He used to use the other word instead of backside, though, referring to us as the candidates. So that sort of stuff could be pretty valuable, as well as, well, not could be, I think it is, and then as well as the combination of tasks in connection with helping candidates get a sense for what that feels like, what that sounds like, what that looks like when they're in a group with other people, getting a good understanding of, I suppose, their response from a physiological perspective, I suppose, like what's happening internally, emotionally, physically, and giving them tools then in those moments, once they get a better understanding, in particular with regards to the why and the how and the what's, etc., but giving them tools and techniques of how to regulate and how to bring things down so that they can not be so overwhelmed. Hopefully that makes sense anyway. So that's the thinking behind it, and that's the opportunity, I guess, with regards to the pre-selection training camps. It's geared towards both the NZ and Australian setup. So people have asked, oh, but selection in Australia is different now because it's combined. It's different because it's combined, yep. But a lot of and I think I touched on it in the video, like the DNA of what they're looking for and how those things are run is still essentially going to be the same. And so, although what I run in a training camp, which I think hopefully I've made clear in the video, is never going to be a play by play. This is what's going to happen on this day at this time, and this is how they'll do this event and this activity, and this is et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be very immersive to the point whereby you'll have a lot of landmarks and data points that you can draw from and go, oh man, yeah, I remember this. I remember when we went through and talked about this. Okay, cool. Read the room. This is some of the stuff that's happening. Heck, I'm feeling this way right now. This is what I can do to regulate. These are some of the tips, tools, tricks that people that have walked the path or walked the walk, some that are still walking that walk now, have shared, which should hopefully help those candidates. Proof will be in the application by the candidate to apply those things that they learn in that immersive camp, and yeah, and see how they go. I think the feedback, some of the feedback which will be valuable for us will be identifying whether or not the 48 hours is enough. We feel like it is with regards to the content, the structure, the stresses, the pressure, the tools, the techniques, the study, the learning, and the delivery of information to help candidates. We think that that's going to be um, sufficient time. It could even be less than that, so hence why the 36 to 48 hours. And yeah, but time will tell. Some candidates that come on it might say, "Oh man, I wish this was longer." They might say, "Actually, 24 hours is enough." Or we think 24 hours is a little bit too short because you're missing some of the added value that goes into not only the start of your days, the evening, but then kicking into the next day. And some of that um, anxiety, anticipation, stress, for want of a better term as well, that can build up as part of that. So having exposure to as much as we can, crammed and condensed into 48 hours as um, as well as we can, we think that's going to give candidates a much better opportunity to prepare. So I'll be honest, my headspace wasn't in this area at all until having the conversation um, with those that I have a lot of respect for and who have a lot of experience in this space, much more than me. And so when I had that conversation, it was just automatically making sense. I was like, oh wow, that makes sense. No different to um, uh, survival, eh? Like learning survival techniques and tricks and tips, so that if you are plonked out or find yourself in the middle of nowhere, you can survive. You can find water. You know how to find north. You know how to find food. You know how to do the taste testing and all that sort of stuff to prevent yourself from getting sick or worse, dying. You know how to treat water. You know how to do certain things. In relation to that. No different to learning how to shoot. The marksmanship principles, and if you're going to be in a job that's there may be a high possibility whereby you may be engaged by enemy parties or enemy forces, then having a good understanding of how to try to avoid that in the first place, but also how to respond is important. So here in the military, they can take care of all of that. They can teach all of that stuff. Um, but some of the stuff that, and again, the military could do these training camps, but I think resource wise, time commitment wise, the costing involved with it, I think it pulls away from potentially, I think it potentially pulls away or distracts from what their primary and core roles are within those, well, at least within those particular units anyway. So if this is an opportunity to, I don't know, somehow potentially bridge that gap from a learning perspective for candidates, then I think it's a good thing. So anyway, I think that's that one. Some of the other stuff that's come out on the back end of the pre-selection camps have been questions about the online offerings. So will there be an online version? So the short answer is yes, eventually there will be. We haven't got a date in mind for that. Will probably be a combination of some of what we may or may not film during the in-person immersive camps. Um, Everything will be uh, protected or redacted, whatever you want to call it, privatized on there in terms of identities and all that sort of stuff for everybody. Like not only the candidates that put their hand up that want to come and participate in it, but also obviously the staff and that sort of thing. So the only one whose mug you'll probably see will probably be mine. Even then, I might forget and my face might be blurred out. So don't worry about that if I accidentally blur out my face. So yeah, there will be an online version. That cost will be less again than the 4.95 because it's online, but it'll still, we're at this stage sort of somewhere between 195 to 250, something like that. Maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less. But again, trying to um, provide value without just giving everything away for free, because there's lots of people, well, there's a number of people at this stage, there may be lots later, but there's a number of people involved that are giving of their time, their knowledge, their expertise in this space. So yeah, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And they want to make sure that they get some sort of compensation for it. So the online option will come out. We just don't know when that will be. We feel, or we feel, based on what the information that I received and those that have been involved in these, they've said that the feedback has always been the face-to-face, immersive, tactile type environment has always been better. Not that they ever ran an online version before, from what they've said, but they did float the idea: could we put together some sort of course offering whereby people could access online um, to use that to better prepare? And there probably is a scope, yeah, scope, a cohort market maybe for that. So we'll see. Anyway, so the online version is something that will come up. We just don't know when. And then the other one was mobile. So going mobile and being a group of us traveling to an area or location and running again the face-to-face immersive training camp, pre-selection training camp experience, intel gathering opportunity for those in that area. That would depend on numbers, and that would also depend on I guess the baseline cost of what the cost would be for the staff, as well as the expenses for travel. So yeah, we'll cross that bridge again if something like that comes up. The other part, which was interesting, which was cool. So some people chimed in and said, "Oh, maybe it could lend itself to." Um, doesn't have to necessarily be for selection, but it could be drawing from those tools or things that are used from a selection perspective to build team cohesion, team development, leadership, and that sort of stuff. Whether it's sports teams, whether it's corporate or business, or like a professional development type activity or whatever. So yeah, that's a thank you for those ideas. So those that chimed in, I won't drop their names here because they know who they are, and they'll probably give me a slap around the ears if I mention their names. So yeah, but good food for thought. We'll see what happens. At the moment, right now, if I'm honest, and if you've looked at the post recently on YouTube and Instagram and the latest video, the focus for me anyway is primarily on yeah, getting the training camp squared away. Still tweaking some of there's some bits and pieces in the methodology and the delivery stuff and the activities that align up, and then also some of the lesson plans, because they will be shorter, more condensed version, probably delivered in, dare I say, a military style, um, but at a what's the word, higher, not a higher level, just more key information, because it's a heck of a lot of information we're trying to deliver in a short period of time. So I think you get what I mean anyway. So just fine tuning, tweaking some of those. So as an example, without going into details, some of the navigation stuff. Um, there's a there's quite a lot that you could go into navigation, but giving aspiring candidates enough information that they can take it away and start using, so that they can take it away, they'll know how to do a resection to find out where they are on the map. They'll understand what a map is and all that sort of stuff, and some of the basics, your mid bearings, your grid north, true north, magnetic north, etc. All those sorts of things will run way they'll be given some location on the map, then they'll get an opportunity to put into practice what it is that they're learning, and then we'll follow along and create some of that environment, the directing staff with regards to instructions given, communication, and then them leading a group or leading a navigation league, etc. So we'll working through all of that sort of stuff just to fine tune that so that it runs nice and smooth. Yeah, hopefully that gives enough of an idea. Uh, that's that. I think I've covered off on those. Uh, eventual offerings, yep. Pre-selection camps, yep. Longer term. Oh, probably that's the only other thing. The online version, when we get to that stage, like I said, primary focus is on doing the face-to-face delivery. Uh, it, it may take what's the word I'm looking, well, longer, may take longer for, because it may lend itself to more questions. So the online version will still have an element of a live. So those that sign up for the online version, or if anybody signs up for the online version in terms of pre-selection prep, there'll still be, we feel that there'll still be a need for a live element. So that'll probably be online, whereby something like this, but not on YouTube, probably in the school community or whatever, whereby those that have purchased that option can then ask questions, delve into more detail, and we can allocate some chunks of time to go through that, whether it's the breakup of the day or the breakup of the 36 to 48 hours into segments, and then having a live piece or portion in relation to that, or we do a pre-recorded Q&A from the questions that we may have received from candidates that have done the face-to-face, so the more common ones, and then chuck those in and do that for each segment or stage. This is just the idea at this stage, a real rough skeleton, and then doing that for each segment, and then at the end just having a wrap-up live opportunity available for those that have jumped on the online version who may want to ask questions or follow up or whatever, just to give that opportunity to sort of round that and close that out to, yeah, provide as much help as we can. So hopefully, oh, error, more than one ingestion is using the primary URL. One stream to the primary. What does that mean? Ingestion. Content. Oh, my phone's not on. Sorry. Oh, no, that's not doing any live business. Sorry about this. It's just saying that there's more than one. Maybe somebody's hacked it, hacked into the live. Anyway, error. Hopefully this is, maybe it's not. Anyway, hopefully you caught the gist of what I was talking about. The time is still ticking on here, so I'm guessing it's still working for the online, and trying to wrap up for those that may choose that option. So we'll see. At the same time, in saying that, even though the focus is on the face-to-face one, just based on the conversations that I've had, if it seems like the push is more towards the online version, then that may end up superseding the face-to-face one. So we'll just see how it pans out. I get it from a barrier to entry perspective and the financial costs associated. $4.95 is still a lot of money in anybody's language, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. So I understand it's probably viewed as not cheap, but hence why I think it's reasonably priced for the intel, the information that people will get as a result. So, and the preparation that they can take comfort in and confidence in before stepping onto the start line of their selection course, whether that be in NZ or Australia. So that's that. Yeah, done that one. And the last part on here, before we'll see if there's any questions, from anybody, because there may not be. And plus, there's only a couple of people online. uh, and those that might have questions later, if they have a look at it after, they can just whack them in the comments. But more to the school community. So I sent some info to those members in the school community. So appreciate them and shout out to them as well. Um, they can still do. So I've just said, hey, listen, this is the thing that we're looking to do. Um, I've posted this on YouTube and Instagram. I'm putting it here. You've got some options. You can either stay here in the school community if this is what you want to do, or because there's no lock-in contracts in the school community, it's just a monthly payment, can drop off. And if you want to just do the camp, because that may be all they need, they may just literally, I'm assuming, they just want to come there for that information that will help best set them up to go on and attack selection and give it death. So that may be all they need. There's that option. Or if they're there for maybe a longer journey, or they're not too fussed about how long it takes because they've got other plans or whatever, then they can stay. But at least they've been given that information. So anybody that might be considering school is still a good option. Well, I think it's a good option, but I'm biased, because I'm the one who set it up, so I have to say that. But there's going to be lots more information going into that. It may be a slower burn in terms of people going through the classroom and clicking on and having to listen to, or watch and listen to, or just listening to the information that's in there. There's a lot of my responses to questions that have come through, and there's a heck of a lot more to come in that space as well. As well as the learning from community members. So obviously I won't name any names here, but one of the community members, I've never met the guy, but for him to put up what he's done, I've put up this in the lessons from failure category in the school community. He's is a gentleman who's gone at selection twice in Australia, come up short both times, and has sort of articulated that out really well, broken things down into where his head was at, the activities that were taking place, what was going on in his mind, the narrative that he started to communicate to himself and buy into, and then eventually, which led to him withdrawing at his own request. The aftermath of that, the feelings in that moment and immediately after, and yeah, just a really cool breakdown, which gives a different perspective. So not just another success story, not just another, yeah, I did this, yeah, I did that, yeah, you've got to do this, yeah, you've got to do that. People probably get enough of that yip yarring from me. Um, so to look at it, and even for me to look at it from through another lens, from somebody who's been down that path, and was kind enough, vulnerable enough to break that down and share it with us in the school community, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So that's the type of environment and community that we want to build and learn from, and then take those learnings and lessons not just for selection but for life in general, or business, or whatever else people are doing. So yeah, shout out to that person. He knows who he is. Appreciate the time, effort, thought, consideration that he put into that, and leaning into it for the, what did he say, to learn from his experience. I think he said to learn from his failure for the collective gain, but I think to learn from his experience more so for the collective gain rather than the failure, because as far as I'm aware, he's going back again. So, you know, um, going back a third time says a heck of a lot about somebody, in my opinion anyway. They have my respect anyway, just going on selection once. If that's something that they've spoken about doing and then they've actually actioned, is what I mean, that's awesome. But somebody to go through that twice, come up short, go through that emotional roller coaster that I can only imagine I can connect to in a way from my time here in NZ at the end of cycle. So I can connect to that in my own way. But for him to go through that and put that down and really lay it out quite specifically, is very cool as far as I'm concerned anyway. So hopefully we can build more of that, and learn from those experiences. So that's that. Those that are in the school community, they may not want to renew and go again in the month. They may just want to look to do something like the training camp, or they may just want to hold out and wait for the online pre-selection training camps. Again, we'll see how and where that lands and what happens. That's everything. That's everything I've got on my list. So that I wanted to go through and took just under 30 minutes. That must be a miracle for me. Hey, Dan, what's this? Love your work, brother. Watching from Perth. Wish I was in NZ for it, but I'll be following along online. Oh, thanks for that, bro. Hey, just on that, those that are in Perth, so I don't know that Nick and them at the Mill Gym, I don't know if they're doing a specific pre-selection camp like what I'm talking about. They may be. I know that they offer camps, different camps and stuff there, but I don't know if it's from memory. I don't think it's on the same along the same lines as what we're looking to do with these 36 to 48 hour fully immersive camps to give people um, the information from with regards to selection prep itself. Don't get me wrong, their camps at the Mill Gym with Nick and them will definitely give people a great insight and help prepare genuine candidates that are looking to do selection over in Oz. I just can't speak to whether or not they're doing the same type of delivery camp offering as what we're doing. So they've got a whole bunch of other stuff, soft prep, physical training programs, etc. Maybe even some resiliency stuff and mental prep stuff. So anybody in Perth, to the guy here, appreciate you mentioning that. But if you haven't checked out the Mill Gym already, they may be well worth checking out, bro, and just seeing what it is that they are doing. What's this here? No, I don't need that. All right, that's all I have. There's only 4 people on there anyway, from what I can see, if that's accurate. I've still got an error showing on my screen, which says that more than one ingestion is using the primary URL. I don't know how or why that is. I can't see anything else on my screen using the URL. Yeah, I don't know. So hopefully everybody's week has been awesome. Those here in NZ, hopefully you're enjoying the public holiday, Waitangi Day. Yeah, a bit of a disappointing whatever was happening up at Waitangi, and I think the Prime Minister and Winston Peters, Luxon, and I forget who the other guy's name is, that were there, and then it just turned into a bit of a Te Pāti Māori airing their dirty laundry, from what I could tell. At least that's the headline anyway, and that's what's been spouted around. I couldn't be bothered watching it once I saw the haka happening and somebody going across to, get in the face of somebody else who said something during the speeches. It's just sad, disappointing. So anyway, yeah, public holiday here, Waitangi Day, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your weekend wherever you are. Appreciate your time, support as always. No questions have come through, so that's good. It means that I get to give you back some time and you get to go and enjoy your weekend. So that being said, hey, if you or anybody you know is going through a whole bunch of difficult times, challenges, struggles, just, man, encourage them, encourage you, keep turning up. One foot in front of the other, stay in the fight, and just take one day at a time. Things can do and will get better if you want them to. Might sound cliche, might sound repetitive, might sound insincere. I hope it doesn't, because that's my experience. If you want things to get better, they can, they do, and they will get better. But like anything, you have to want today. So if you can reframe that, and if you do want things to get better, then sometimes we've just got to stay in that miserable place for however long it takes. Sometimes it's longer than what we'd like, and longer than what we'd expect. And if you're anything like me, more often than not, we don't want to be there, and we're trying to find every way that we can to try to get out of it. So having that hope and trying to find those ways out of that, I think aligns with at least some of my experience of wanting things to get better. So do what you need to do. Talk to somebody if you need to. Go do some training if you have to. Go punch a punching bag if you have to. Go join your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai or MMA class and get beaten up if if you think that makes you feel better. I don't think that would make you feel better, but who knows? Some people are different. But yeah, just find whatever it is that you need to do to try to give yourself a bit of a reprieve or respite from those challenges that you might be facing at this time. You know that the sun will shine again. There are better days ahead, and those better days are always closer than you and I think. So stick at it, keep smashing, keep chipping away. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there is a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all. See you later, team. Oops. heart, and end.